Welcome to this session on the design for meaningful relationship with AI. So in this session, I want to invite us to think about our evolving relationship with AI, especially in the context of teaching and learning, and also think about how we can design meaningful, critical, and productive relationship with AI, not just use AI as a tool, but also how we can learn with AI, work with AI, and think with AI. So this could mean different things to different people. For example, for teachers, this could mean designing learning activities that to help students to think critically about AI and to develop their AI literacy skills, and for teachers to develop activities that learner can engage with peers and AI in a meaningful and responsive way. And also for learners, it could mean learning to work with AI as designers of their own learning, building agency, curiosity, and critical awareness in such learning processes. And also for all of us living in this AI-mediated society, it could be an invitation for us to reflect on how AI participates in shaping our value, knowledge, and ways of knowing, and even what it means to be human. So first, I want to start with a simple question. What can AI actually do? So here we don't need to deep dive into the technical side of AI in this session, but it's really helpful by thinking about this question to set a stage for us to explore what relationship mean and how we can build meaningful relationship with AI. So first of all, I want to say that AI is not new. It has been around since 1950s, but what is new is accessibility, scale, and integration into our daily life. And many of us are now familiar with generative AI or Gen AI, for example, ChatGPT as one of the example of Gen AI applications. Gen AI is a subfield of AI that generates content such as text, images, videos, audios, or programming codes. And they're transforming how we think, write, teach, and learn, and our routines in our daily life. So if you look at this image, this gives us a sense of that transformation. It actually maps out the landscape of Gen AI companies in 2023, everything from writing assistant and art generators to data analysis tool. So this is a huge market and it's evolving and expanding every single day. And I think this question really gives a perfect answer about what can AI do. But the real question for us as educators, in addition to what AI can do, but also what should we do with AI? Like how can we use AI to support meaningful learning rather than just for faster or easier tasks? So the question takes us into a new way of thinking, a shift from artificial intelligence or AI to intelligence augmentation or IA. So instead of asking, can machines think like humans, we now ask, how can machines extend human thinking? So it is the difference between the creation of an artificial mind and the creation of a tool that augments human cognition. So rather than worrying about AI replacing human, I think it would be really meaningful to think about the challenge and opportunities for us to design ways for AI to work with us, helping us think, learn, and create in new ways. So let's look at this partnership or relationship between human and AI in two angles. First, AI as a tool. So this is usually when AI takes on some of the things we already do, but help us do them faster or more efficiently. For example, summarizing a long article in seconds, or helping us organize references in our writing, or help us draft an outline for an essay we're writing. So those kind of things help us to free us up to focus on deeper thinking and creativity. So in this sense, AI works as a helper, which boosts productivity for human and give us more time for the parts of teaching and learning that really matter, and then really value human insights and human experiences. And the second angle here is AI as a collaborator, helping us do things differently. So here, AI doesn't just make things quicker, it actually helps us imagine or create in ways we couldn't on our own. So think about using AI to explore new perspectives or combine ideas across disciplines or test possibility that would take humans a couple of weeks to model. So these are the kinds of things that neither human nor AI could do alone, but that become possible when we work together. So with that in mind, how we work together. So this brings to the importance of human-AI relationship and how we can configure meaningful human-AI relationship. So what is relationship? When we talk about relationship, we usually think about people like our families, our friends, our colleagues. In those relationships, we share ideas, disagree sometimes, we rely on them when you need perspective, and we build trust, and sometimes we grow together by challenging each other. And those kind of relationships are also mutual, so you are influencing each other as you're building this relationship together. But now if you think about it, we also have relationships with things, like with our mobile phones, our computer, laptops, or even our kitchen or your desk. So we rely on them, we get frustrated with them if we run into an issue, and also we adapt our routines, our daily routines around them. So they're on the emotional relationship in the traditional sense, but they will shape our habits and decisions as we're using those tools or working with them in our daily lives. So in summary, relationship shapes how you think and who you become through trust, dialogue, sometimes interactions, and sometimes some challenges. So when we bring AI into the picture, we're not just adding another tool, we're introducing a system that can respond, adapt, and even influence how we reason, write, and create. So that's why it's really important to think about what is the relationship between human and AI and how we can build that relationship in a meaningful way. So here there are two core big questions for us to think about such relationship. One is, what kind of relationship do we want to build with AI? Again, that means different things to different people. For example, do we see AI as a servant, something that just does tasks for us? Or do we imagine it as a collaborator, one that can expand our ideas and push our creativity? And another big question is, how do we build a meaningful relationship with AI? For example, how do we share agency with AI? How do we draw boundaries? Or how do our cultural perspectives shape how we see AI, either as a helper, a partner, or even a rival? Let me share a quick example of what might look like in practice. For example, in one of my class, we're designing a student-AI relationship around a writing assignment. So we're treating AI not as a shortcut to some quick answers, but as collaborators in writing process in a graduate online classes. So for the very beginning, critical engagement with AI is listed as one of the learning objectives along with other usual disciplinary learning goals. So this means students are not just learning to write, they're learning to think about how they interact with AI in their writing process. So for example, two core principles here. One is critique and iterate. So when they're using ChatGPT to help with their writing, they question ChatGPT's feedback on the writing, they identify what is useful or what is problematic, and they co-create an improved version through multiple iterations when they're working with AI. And the second core principle here is reflect and evaluate. So I have asked the students to together we consider how AI influenced our reasoning and decision making by acknowledging the biases, limitations, and think about opportunities in the partnership and how you might want to improve in the next writing assignment when you're working with AI. And another very important element here in this, in terms of how we design learning activities to work with AI in classroom, is, for example, at the bottom of the slide, this is a workload of how the students' writing assignment. At multiple points of the semester, students did their ideation either with peers or with AIs, and at a certain point they work with AI to improve their writing, and also at another point they work with the peer to improve their writing. And most importantly, at multiple points of the assignment, students really stepped back and then did a reflection of their collaboration with AI and also with their peers to think about the overall experiences and their relationship with AI in this process. And it was very exciting to see that a lot of students were able to realize AI was not just a tool to help them complete the assignment as soon as possible, but actually help them to think about how to become a better writer and how to work with AI in a more meaningful way, and to think about this assignment not just to a writing assignment, but how to communicate their idea with their peers and with the broader audiences. So for teaching and learning, some implementations could be after you figure out your relationship, or after you elaborate your relationship with AI, you can think about multiple questions to help you get started. So for example, if you perceive AI more as a tool in a certain stage of the learning activity, you might think about what AI tools are available for teaching and learning, and how do they work? What are the strengths? What are the limitations? And also what skills or knowledge are needed to use such tools effectively, such as certain prompt engineering strategies, and also which parts of teaching or learning process could AI streamline or enhance. For example, you might want to leverage AI in the ideation phase, or you may prefer to use AI to help you provide outline of your writing, or maybe at a later stage you want AI to work with you to revise your paper into a different direction. And if you think of AI more like a collaborator in certain learning activities, you might think about in what kinds of tasks or problems could human-AI partnership lead to new insights or solution? And how can I design learning activities where AI acts as a co-creator or thinking partner rather than just a tool? And also, what new questions, perspective, or ethical challenges emerge when human and AI work together? So for this final slide at the end of the session, I want to share a couple of principles in terms of how we can design for meaningful relationship with AI based on my own observation and also the literature in AI in education. And the first thing I want to share is think about how we could redesign educational system in addition to just AI tools by considering the relationships among all parts of the system, like learners, teachers, curriculum, assessment, technologies, and so on. And second is to think about how we can design productive human-AI collaboration as an important component in our teaching and learning by recognizing the complexity and nuance of human learning processes. This is often meaning that we could do research that is grounded in literature on learning sciences, cognitive sciences, and use those as valuable insights to evaluate the learning outcomes and learning processes. And thirdly, we should also think about how we could design opportunities for reflection on our evolving relationship with AI, such as how it shapes our thinking, agency, and values in education. For example, in an example I just shared in an earlier slide, in learning activity in classrooms, as teachers, we could design some moments for students to step back from using this tool, but really reflect on their experiences, what they can improve in the next class, for example, and what works well and what needs improvement. And finally, it's important to empower educators as co-designers and critical partners in shaping how AI is integrated into learning and teaching, not just think about how we can make the tool, how we can engage technology developers to develop better tool, but how we human can actually leverage the advantages of the tool and use those tools to augment human thinking and to achieve really innovative solutions to the current complex problems in the society.